Welcome back to another episode of the Yellowhammer Sports Podcast. I'm your host, CJ Duncan. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a special episode today. It's one of those episodes that I've been waiting on for a while and I've wanted to do for a while. But as you could imagine, this guy is very busy. He has a beautiful wife, beautiful three boys, and still playing in the league. This guy's hard to get a hold of, but we finally did, and this one means a lot to me. This is a guy who has been a mentor for me for quite some time now. And we were just chatting offline. We were just saying, man, I wish we had a camera in front of us for some of the conversations we had back then, man. It would probably go viral at this point. It's just been a pleasure to know this guy, Jordan Matthews, man. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Appreciate you having me, dog. Let's get it.
Man, how have you been, man? Let the audience know, like, what you've been up to, what's going on, what's your life look like? I know we just talked about you just got a workout in, even though it's postseason, you got a workout in. You about to go to the kids to go with the kids to play soccer. What's going on, man?
Man, I'm blessed, bro. So, literally, my day right now, wake up, I go get a little training session in. I'm always trying to be hands-on with my boys because, like I said, I just finished my 11th season, my 10th credit season in the NFL. My 11th season, I had 1 year when I switched over to tight end, was straight practice squad. So that year didn't technically count to my credit seasons, but got year 10 out of the way this past year. So that was a huge accomplishment for me. I always said, I think winning Super Bowls, finishing with the team that drafts you, setting records, all these things. I think a lot of people always set these goals, being famous. But I tell people all the time, you really can tell what a person's true goal is over time by just what they naturally gravitate to, right? You spend enough time around somebody, they can say, hey, I want to go here. But if you really spend time around, you'll be like, the second that brother gets a nice wife and kids, he's going to be fine. He really is a family man. That's really what speaks to him most, right?
Yeah.
And I'll give you an example. So, I was training with Odell when I first came out.
Yeah.
And I kept telling people, this guy's going to be famous. Because that's what oozed out of him was he truly wanted everybody to know who he was. And it came from a pure place. When we would come to train, we'd all just wear sweats. He'd have on some fly every day. I'm like, you ain't just put that on for us.
Right.
You want the world to see you. And sure enough, he was the most famous guy out of our class. That's what was on him mostly. I say all that to say, all those things that you can accomplish. The thing that spoke to me the most or that inspired me the most were the guys who would come back and be like, hey, I'm year 10. I'm year 11. I'm year 12. To me, that was more impressive to me than a Super Bowl. Because you can go and win a Super Bowl and not do anything in the game, or you did something in the game but you really didn't contribute all season. Yeah. It's a team award and it's great, but at the same time it doesn't speak to just truly who just you are for a large number of guys. Some people it does, yes, but obviously a guy like Tom, but
of course.
Some people it doesn't. Even numbers, stats can be manipulated sometimes. Like, hey, this guy was a system guy, you cannot cheat a certain amount of years in the NFL. That thing will chew you up and spit you out. So when I would meet a guy and he's like, hey, I played 12 years in the NFL, that spoke to me. I was like, how did you wake up every day and get these organizations to continue to believe in you and what you were putting out there on the field? And that's what I think I soaked in the most naturally, And so to say, I finished 11 years working in the National Football League as a player. I signed with the Panthers again after this year, had some great exit meetings. They've got some things they want to see me do. It's always cool when you're, I turned 33 this year and people are still saying hey, we need better here. I'm like, awesome.
Yeah.
Be afraid when somebody doesn't tell you you can get better.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
It's like when people tell you, like your coach tells you, if I'm not getting on to you, there's probably a problem. You
It's
know
a
what I'm saying?
problem.
Yeah, it's
We
probably a
about to
problem.
move on.
I've already given up on you, probably. You know
Exactly.
what I
I'm
mean?
not even watching your reps no more, really.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
you're done. You're done.
You're done. So
We have not included you in the game plan from here on out. So,
exactly.
well, it is. I think you're so right. I think that there is, when you talk about 10 years plus in a league or in one organization at all, whether you're playing sports, you're in business,
Anything,
whatever it may be,
exactly. Yes.
it tells a story, and
It does.
it's a story of resiliency. It's a story of determination and commitment
Yeah.
on that person's part.
Yeah, the ability to not piss people off over time.
Yeah.
If you're working with one company for 10 years, look, that's like a marriage.
Yeah, it is.
And so for me, man, like I love doing this. I love when my son is asking, like, Dad, like, are you gonna play again? Like, I think we're gonna try and do one more, son. And he's 6, so he's starting to get it now.
Yeah.
And I don't shy him away from it. If I get released or I get put on practice squad or I'm not up during the game, he'll ask me, Dad, why don't you play this week? Hey, Dad's got to get better. Like I want him to understand. And so when it's my time to move on, which will be soon, man, I'm putting all my energy then into my boys, man. This is like LeVar Ball 2.0. Deion Sanders. What Deion doing, they ain't seen nothing yet.
Right. Well, I think you're setting a very solid foundation for your kids, and your kids are going to come up in a privileged life, due to what their parents have been able to do. But for you to set that foundation and that mindset of like, hey, there's always room to get better. There's always room to work harder. I mean, you say you were up at 3:30 this morning, in a chamber and in a sauna and all these other things. They see that. Even when you think they don't see it, they're seeing it. And so you're setting such a solid foundation for them. But let's jump into it.
Come on,
what people don't know you as J-Matt 3 times, right? And that's what that's when I first realized who you were. I come on campus as a freshman. That's the summer of 2013. This is your final season playing in college. And, I'm hearing Coach Franklin talk about this guy. I'm hearing Coach Gaddis talk about this guy. And a lot of the players are saying this guy. And I don't know. I'm a small fish in a big pond at this point. I haven't spent significant time outside of Alabama besides going to college. You know what I mean? That's just not what we did growing up. And so so I'm more focused on where was my first class and how I, like you say, piss off the coaches early on. Right? And so we finally get an opportunity after they've given us the lay of the land. They give us an opportunity to go to Team 7-on-7 that afternoon. And when I tell you, Jordan, the way that you just had full control as a receiver of the entire team and the entire practice, like it's hard to even describe everything that went on in that. And you didn't have to say much. It was just your presence out there changed the whole dynamic of the team. Like as a guy who's coming from a 4A private school, y'all are competing so hard and working so hard. I'm like, I don't think these guys like each other. Like that's how y'all are preparing for the season. And it was so foreign to me. I mean, you dominated that practice and you even ended that practice by scoring a touchdown and punting the ball and said, we're done, let's go. And so I guess my question is to you, like, where did you get that passion? Where did you get that work ethic where you're just like, it just became infectious? Where did that come from?
Man, honestly, I developed a love for the game when I was in high school. Probably because, I was good at basketball. I was all right at baseball. But, man, I remember that my sophomore year, I had like 10 touchdowns as a sophomore. Nobody had ever gone Division I from the high school I went to. So I'm already kind of like, okay, I think this is pretty good, but I don't know for sure. man, when those letters started coming in, I know for a fact at my mom's house, I probably still have my first handwritten letter from Vanderbilt that came my sophomore year. And you know how it is. It's like when you're doing something, but also the outside world also affirms you in a little bit like, hey, you're pretty good. I like that. I was like, okay, I'm doing something that people think matters, that's inspiring. And so I just got used to saying, man, like, I'm going to try and be my best every single day. Like, just as a competitor, I wanted to win. I wanted Vanderbilt to be good. These were things that, like, when I saw guys get there, I was like, okay, these guys want to just be good here. Like I remember, I don't want to say the guy's name. I definitely remember his name, though. When I first got to Vanderbilt, they had Jugs machine there, and I said, okay. I told Krause, I told Boyd, all the guys in my receiving class, Trent, I said, hey, every single day after we're done working out, we're going to catch Jugs. Like, we're going to be the guys start to turn this thing around. And I remember we were down there catching Jugs, and this one guy, I won't say his name, he's probably a great guy.
But I know who you're talking about.
An upperclassman, he's probably like a senior at this time, walks out and sees us on the Jugs, and he says, that junk doesn't even matter. Like, I remember him saying something along the lines of, you guys are wasting your time. And I just thought to myself, I was like, you got done working out with the team, and you're headed back to the dorm. Alabama gets the same allotted amount of time to go work out as we do. If we work out the same amount of time as Alabama, we will never beat them. We will never catch up to them. Like, if we don't even think about the game for more hours in a day than the Bamas, the LSUs, we'll never catch up to them. Yeah. So this is where we gain ground. So the whole time I'm thinking this, I'm just like they're not going to remember you.
Yeah.
Like, it's because of that attitude right there.
Real.
It's like, you're not going to be one of the people that helps impact this place. And so for me, it was a challenge, man. Like, I wanted to see Vanderbilt get to where it could be kind of more on a national scale. And me and a lot of guys that, great players that, obviously including you, helped turn that around. So,
you did just that. I mean, that year you go on to have one of the more magical years in college football history, in my opinion, my humble opinion. I don't want to say Vanderbilt history, and I don't want to say SEC history, because I don't think it does it justice. I witnessed it firsthand, and I can tell you, when I knew it was going to be one of those seasons, it was the very first game of the season.
Yep.
And you probably remember this, but when you got hit against Ole Miss, you came out the gates flying and playing super well, but you got hit on a nasty, nowadays it's probably a penalty because it's a defenseless receiver, right?
Yep.
But you go back into the locker room, and then you come back out of the locker room, and nobody knows what happened in there, but you come back out and you still have over 100 yards receiving. And so I knew in that moment, I said, this guy is different than everybody else that's playing on this field tonight. We ended up losing that game, but I said, this team's going to respond to that guy saying it means that much to him. You went All-American, Biletnikoff, All-SEC, and the SEC record in receptions.
Yep.
Did you see this coming? Did you see that kind of year happening to Jordan Matthews? Madison Academy in North Alabama, did you see this?
That's a great question. And I'm going to tell you right now, my freshman year, we ended the season. We played Kentucky, we played Wake Forest, we played Florida, and we played Tennessee. Usually that last November gauntlet of SEC games, right? Yeah. And I finally started getting playing time. We're playing against Florida, and I had not gotten redshirted because the guy who recruited me is the head coach at this time. And so his name's Robbie Caldwell. I love him to death, man. He was one that really believed in me early on. And he puts me in the Florida game. We're losing 60 to something. This is old Vanderbilt. We're getting breaks beat off of us. And late in that game, he throws me in. He calls Raider. This was the signal for Raider, and it meant two fades. Mm-hmm. So me and Akeem Dunham are the receivers. We both run fades. Jared Funk throws it to Akeem Dunham. Keem goes up, catches it. His foot lands out of bounds. Robbie Caldwell comes off the sideline and says, hey, run it again and throw it to him, and pointed right at me. Yeah. He said, and you better catch it. I said, oh my God.
It's on me now.
On me now. Bro, he threw the fade. You could probably find on YouTube somewhere, bro. He's got to go back in the archives, like 2010, 2011. He throws me a fade. I'm going against, like, this kid that I was going against was also a freshman, like, number one corner in the class. I beat him on the fade. The ball's about to, like, it goes right past him. I stick one hand out, catch it one-handed. That was my first career touchdown. I ended up scoring a touchdown in 4 straight games. I ended up my freshman year, 4 touchdowns. I probably had like 100 and some yards, like 100, like, I don't know, 70 maybe, because I was really just catching fades. And I really caught a fade that game, caught a fade versus Kentucky, Sluggo versus Tennessee, Sluggo versus Wake Forest. It was all red zone stuff. My cousin, honest to God, I could bring him on the podcast next time I speak. Kurt was with me because around the end of the seasons, around like Thanksgiving and stuff. So after the last game versus Wake Forest, we had off time. So we get in the car and we head back to Huntsville. He came to that game. He went back to Huntsville with me. So we're back in Alabama spending time at the house I grew up in. And me and my cousin, I'm with him. I'm like, hey, pull up the all the freshman receivers this year, what they did. So you had like Odell, right? No, Odell wasn't there. It was Ace Sanders. Odell came next year. Ace Sanders was at South Carolina. Keenan Allen was our year. But the number one guy was Robert Woods. Now, Robert had like 800 yards our freshman year. Mm-hmm. But I was looking at touchdowns. I had 4. There were some guys like 5, 6. I looked at my cousin that day. I said, I'm going to catch every single one of them. Yeah. I said, I'm going to catch them. He's like, well, I said, cuz, I'm going to catch them. Yeah. It was just, bro, I felt it in my spirit, bro. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, you know the first time you saw your wife and you was like, yes, that's my wife.
That's it.
You know when you walking with the Lord, when he shows you something, you like, that's me. Yes. Like, that's got my name on it. And bro, I'm telling you, man, it's clear as day. I was like, I'm going to catch him. And when I ended my college career, I was the active leading receiver in all of college football. So of anybody over that 4-year span, I had more total yards and more total catches than anybody. Robert, Keenan, anybody, and guys that came that next year. And so that was like crazy to me. Brandon Cooks, all these guys, man, like to think that from that point to where we got now was crazy.
Well, and a lot of those guys had a head start, right? You didn't play until the end of your freshman year, so you truly you didn't just catch them, you surpassed them too, in that sense. And ladies and gentlemen, this is a fact. I remember, as Jordan and I got closer over the that year that he was still at Vanderbilt, he would talk about Odell Beckham and he would talk about Keenan Allen and say, all right, yeah, whatever they got. I looked at their stats for that game. I got to go do better the next week. He would talk about these kind of things. That fueled you, and I remember that, really verbatim. And so getting back to that a little bit, like, from my perspective, like I said before, you just have this innate ability to lead and kind of bring others along with you while you're succeeding. And I know my freshman year, I remember you texting me at like 4 or 5 in the morning saying, "Hey, let's get on these jugs. Let's get on these jugs." And so was this something that you learned as a kid, or have you always just kind of, was this a gift from God almost in a way that the ability to lead, but also say, it's not just about me. How can I help others to come with me? Because I remember you telling me, hey, us Bama boys got to stick together. And I don't think you understand how much that'll do for somebody like me who's like, a fish out of water as a freshman.
Right. Yeah, no, like for me, man, it was always about competition. I believe that if you create an environment of straight competition, then you're always going to get your best self. Mm-hmm. Always. Now, like, I'll be honest though, like like I said, I'm still in the NFL, and like guys will be on that ping pong table for like 3 hours after practice or playing cards. Like, to me, that's just like that's child's play. Like, I'm not. This doesn't matter over here. This ain't feeding my family. Right. So just competition for the sake of it, I'm not as much on that end. But it's like, yo, we got something that we're actually like, we got to get prepared for, whether it's game, whether it's camp. Like this past camp. This is my like 11th year. Dude, I'm competing. I come in there every single day after practice. Show me the miles per hour.
Yeah.
I want to be in the top 5 fastest guys on the team, and I want to be the fastest at my position every single day.
Yeah.
Every single day. Like, okay, maybe a DB here and there that's 170 pounds. Okay, a receiver that's going on a go route. But I'm trying to hit 20 miles per hour, 21 every time I touch the grass, because you're not going to tell me I'm old. When I go back to OTAs, I'm like, okay, what are we doing right now? We can't play ball, so we're lifting. All right, well, we're doing the vert max. I'm going to go have the highest jump total. Where we going? We're doing benching. I'm gonna have the high. I'm always trying to compete. So throughout the whole off season, I was trying to beat everybody. I wanted to be undisputed who the alpha was. And before I knew it, other guys were like, "No, like I'm not about to let this guy take over." Now you got Kenny Ladler coming up, Andre Howe, my boy Stephen Clark, Carl Butler. When Zach was there, I mean, Zach was a dog too. You got, guys like Casey Hayward. Like, it was just the competition level just rose. But for me, I was like, well, the more you guys go up to, I'm paying attention to what time you guys wake up and get in this building. I'm gonna compete there too. I'm gonna be the first one in. When you guys leaving, I'm gonna be the last one out. So that's really the environment that I've always kind of wanted to help create. Because then when you're doing that, you don't have to do all these rah-rah speeches. You don't have to do all this Jedi mind tricking to get somebody to go. It's, are you getting your butt kicked or are you kicking somebody's butt? That's really it.
That's what it comes down to.
That's what it comes down to. And if I'm kicking your butt, I want you to know, when we do these morning workouts, you stayed up last night. You was up with your girl. I went to bed. I got up. I got breakfast. Now I'm killing you. Now I'm on you. And I want you, like, I know I'm rambling, but I'm so serious about this.
Yeah,
but
I know you are. Yeah.
All those guys that I caught in college, I've dealt with injuries, man. I've dealt with a ton of setbacks since I've been in the NFL. I had to switch positions, right? So you got guys like Mike Evans. You don't think I see that Mike Evans caught his 100 touchdown, Devontae Adams 100 touchdown? These guys are in my same class. Like, I don't sleep well at night knowing that guys that came in the same time as me have put up those numbers and I wasn't able to. You don't think there's a sick part of my head that's like, I'm still trying to catch him. At the same time, it's like, you ain't just gonna leave me. You still gonna wake up one day and like, is that dude still playing? It's like, this dude won't.
Yeah.
I'm gonna win something.
Yeah.
I gotta win something.
Yeah.
And I don't care if it's, I put another year together and they say, J-Man, we're gonna use you mostly on special teams this year. You're gonna be our swing tight end, but it's gonna be mostly on special teams. I'm gonna try and lead the league in tackles. Like, it doesn't matter. Whatever the thing is, I'm trying to go beat you. And through that, I'm going to inspire. I'm going to, obviously give an example for my kids. But for me, this by knowing me, my relationship with God is everything. Mm-hmm. If you're gonna show up every day, you need a source that's gonna be able to empower you every single day. Yeah. And so I'm always leaning on my faith, because I'm like, I need to be better than I was last year when I was 31, and now I'm 32, and then I'm gonna be 33. I can't do this on my own flesh. So,
well, let's stay right there. So you finished. So you were drafted early second round. I mean, you're already, before you even get to the draft, you're a 0.5%er in the world, right? The things that you had already accomplished and done, and now you're going second round in the draft to the Philadelphia Eagles. And you finished your first 2 seasons with 16 touchdowns. Yeah. And then, like you said, and right there at 16 touchdowns, that puts you at the top of your class of receivers as well. So, but like you said, their injuries came, and injuries started to plague the next couple of years, and then trades and things of that nature started to happen. How, like, personally, I know what you've had to overcome and how you have transformed yourself, and you touched on it briefly, but tell us what's going through your head at the time when these things are not going your way, really kind of for the first time. And I'm sure a lot of younger athletes would enjoy hearing this, and what kept you stable and encouraged to know that your story was just not done in the NFL.
Right. I wish I could, let me see. I want to, Oren sent it to me, but I want to be able to find, so I would actually show you the video. I need to, I'll just tell you about it, because I need to be able to find it. But after those 2 years, right? I mean, I'd had more production than any Philadelphia Eagle in his first 3 years after being drafted, right, than anybody. First two, for sure. And the only person finally to catch me, I think that third year, I should say first 2 years was, then the third year I finally got caught, Devontae Smith, which is kind of crazy because there's only one person that's eclipsed my yards record in the SEC. It's also Devontae Smith. So I don't know why this guy hates me so much.
You know what? He's got your name written down like you did all those other guys.
Yeah. He's like, I'm gonna wipe this guy to history. So but I mean, you can ask for a better guy to
incredible.
I mean, Heisman Trophy winner, dude's a beast. But I say all that to say, those 2 years, I mean, just incredibly productive. I'm getting better. I take my yards, my catches from 60 catches to like 80, my yards from like 800. I went 997. Let's call it 1,000. So boom to 1,000, 8 touchdowns. So I didn't take a dip in production anywhere. And then that next year in camp, I'm going to catch a bubble screen, and it's in practice. It was like contact, it was pads, but you never expect to get hit in a dirty way in practice. And you know me, I never miss practice. I was never injured. And I'm in practice, I go and catch a bubble screen. This receiver on the outside is supposed to block the corner. He runs a slant versus cover 2, and this corner comes off. I'm not going to say this corner. I'm not going to disrespect him like that. It was Jalen Mills, great player. But just young. He was a rookie, overzealous, wanted to get in the mix, wanted to be physical. He comes in and takes out my left knee. And that was the start of everything. It's the knee that had the ACL in. Right. It's the knee that had patella, 2 different patella, procedures in. Had to go get my posterior lateral corner repaired. It's this thing on the outside lateral part of your knee that helps with stabilization. Like any issue I had with my body started that day. And that was when I was at my most productive. I came back that next year, knee pain like crazy. Then I ended up hurting my right ankle because I'm playing on one bad knee. Still had 800 yards, still 3 touchdowns, but just in pain, man.
Didn't feel like yourself.
No, bro. Like when I used to go out there on the field and just be like, it's over. Like I felt the connection that I felt with the game plan, with my coaches, with the quarterback. Like I could just look at him and be like, look at me. That I've caught 100,000 balls before I even got to this game. Like you can trust me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so when I started going through that, I remember waking up days, CJ, and I would be like, okay, it's today gonna be the day. I roll out of bed, I put my feet on the ground, I would just feel pain shoot down my legs, and I'd just be like, nope, gotta thug it out again today. Getting traded to Buffalo, I needed surgery, so I still was like in a lot of pain when I got there. You go from having 800 yards, 3 touchdowns, never having a year under 8. I hadn't had a year under 800 yards since like my sophomore year in college. I had like 740 my sophomore year, but I hadn't had a year under 700 yards in like 5 years, like half a decade, pro and college. I go to 200, maybe like 100 yards on 1 touchdown and having to get surgery week 10. Then the team I just got traded from while I was injured goes and wins the Super Bowl. When I tell you the stuff that'll send a dude into depression, some stuff that'll send a guy into retirement because he just can't shake back. Like, okay, I got to get confidence back from being injured. I got to get confidence back from the team that traded me winning the Super Bowl. I got to get confidence back from low production. How many things I got to go back and get? But somebody once told me, man, there's some fruit you can only get in the valley. There's some fruit, you can get some fruit on that peak, but there's some fruit you only going to get in the valley, right? Yeah. And I learned so much during those times that if you going through something, like, see, I got 3 sons now. There ain't nothing they gonna go through that I can't talk them through. Yeah. If my whole career was like my first 2 years, what am I gonna tell one of my sons the first time he has some like real adversity, in higher level? Like, I ain't got nothing for you, son. Just get it done. Yeah. That's why a lot of these great athletes, kids, aren't that great. It's not just because they didn't get the genetic, gene, or because you can't relate to them. Yeah. So I've torn an ACL. I've been cut 10 times. I've been signed 12 times. I've
Yeah.
been traded. I've been the number 1 receiver. I've been the number 4 receiver. I've been practice squad. I've played tight end. I've played all 4 special teams. I've seen it all, man. So I truly believe everything I went through was to make me more relatable. But when I was going through it, man, it was tough. But like I said, I always had this voice in my head that was like, "You're not done.
Mm-hmm.
You're not done." Bro, I tore my ACL at 30 years old.
Wow.
I had changed positions to tight end. I did a year with the 49ers. I was on practice squad all year. They're like, "Yo, you can come back after this offseason and have a chance to be like the number 2, possibly the Kittle, possibly. Like, you really got to like hone in on this tight end stuff. That's like a receiving tight end. You look good. And we've got 2 guys that are really good behind George, Ross Dwelly, Charlie Warner. They're really good players. They both play for the Falcons right now. But they tell you probably like they tell anybody, hey, you got a chance. Cool. I came back feeling great, cooking. Like, I'm talking about balling. Like, midway through camp, ACL goes. I'm 30 years old. I'm in a position switch. I changed positions.
Yeah.
Like, most people be like, bro, just go home.
Yeah.
I'm still going.
Still going. And it's crazy too, like in that moment right there, in hindsight, you can see what, Shanahan, some of those guys may have been thinking, because you see Baltimore right now doing the exact same thing where you got Mark Andrews and you got Likely, and then Kansas City's got Gray, and they've got of course Travis Kelce. And so you could see how that 2 tight end system would have really worked out in a beneficial way for everybody involved. I mean, was it your faith there that just kind of kept you aboard, that just kept you saying, just keep going, just keep going? I mean, you just kept, the train just kept rolling. Well, was it your faith? And I know how strong your faith is, but just give just a little insight just about how,
Yeah.
what kept you up in those moments. Because these are, like you said, the normal man would have folded, and you never did fold.
Yeah, well, pain reminds you alive, right? You know
Mm.
what I'm saying? So I look at it like, what are some of our toughest tests, right? Okay, you're going to have marriage, it's going to be tough. All right. Yo, you try and play football. You did it. You did it at the highest level collegiate. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what that's like every single day to compete at that level. Having kids, trying to buy a house. Like, these things are tough. And to keep up a house, providing for a family. Like, these are the tests that's going to show you what you really downloaded, who you really are. And I like to run to those tests. I
Mhm.
want to show up to camp and make people uncomfortable.
Mhm.
I want to make you feel bad about your conditioning. Like,
Mhm.
I want to make those trainers, those coaches, I want them to be like, dang, I wish I could have still been playing. Like, he's the same age as me. Like,
Yeah.
because it does something. And like I say, like, and I'm getting to that point now, man. I'm dropping a lot of my ego. I know people say, you talk about yourself a lot on this podcast. So I'm serious. I'm dropping my ego though, for real. CJ's asking me questions about myself, but
Yeah.
I'm dropping my ego to the point where I'm starting to realize, man, like what is true value, right? And what is your value and understanding that. And for me, lots of times it's not always on a Sunday catching the ball. It's not. My team right now, the Panthers, like when I go, I didn't miss one day of work this past year. You got 30-year-old guys taking vet days. You got second-year guys injured, out with soft tissue. I didn't miss one day. OTAs, camp, practice, a game that I was up, nothing. They know the type of impact that has on young guys. They're like, well, if the 32-year-old guy just went out there and cooked, I know I need to be out here working.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to find another level of myself, but it's also going to make the next guy find another level in himself. And for me, you should want to find those tests and go after them. Because if you're trying to live your life in comfort, we're not going to find out who you really are. We're not. We're never going to find out. At least if you go through something super hard and you quit, then at least we know, okay, well, that was his threshold. That's how much he could
Right.
right?
Right.
But if you never go after it, it's like, what you doing? Like, we don't even know. So Man, to answer your question, honestly, CJ, man, my faith, 1,000%, just was just like I always heard that voice. Like God's like, bro, like I split a Red Sea. I can give you energy for the day.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, well, let's go. Like, let's do it. And then it's just that blessing. I study Hebrew now. That's like my hobby. I don't have a lot of hobbies, honestly. That's really ball and family. But my main hobby is to study ancient biblical languages and to study the Old Testament. So I'm studying Hebrew, and I'm just going in on the word blessing, which is Baruch in Hebrew. And it just talks about, man, blessing, really, the definition is to kneel down. And when you kneeling down, that means you're coming from a higher place to give to somebody something that's lower than you. That's all I'm trying to do with the example I said, man. You may make more money than me, you may be more successful, you have all this stuff, but I want to give you an example of what it looks like not to give up, so I can kneel down and hand that to you so you won't, and I can inspire you to keep going for your family, for your dreams, whatever you're going after.
Man, that's a word right there. We need to pass the communion plates around because man, you got us with that one. I mean that's such a few things that you said just then. Like even in my notes here, I have on here, I can say, as a former receiver myself, we all have egos, right? And we want the ball. And I talked about in the notes your humility to be okay with changing positions and to keep going. That it takes and not just change positions, but also change positions and play that position at a professional level. Like a lot of people think it's just no, that's just the offensive side of the ball, or that's just the receivers and tight end. No, each position is its own niche, and there are different expectations from each position. And one of those expectations for you as a tight end now is blocking. As a receiver, we didn't want to block. I mean, we would block when necessary. If it's a quick screen, we'll get out there and let go kind of thing. You gotta tighten up. You know what I mean? So it does. I think you have shown a lot of humility in the during your journey to switch positions and to kind of change your mindset of how you play on the field. And then second thing being the kneel down part, man. I mean that's powerful, and I think that there is going to be something to say later on in life that your boys are getting to see you on the NFL field.
What's that say right there?
Stay humble.
That's it, baby.
Stay humble. There's going to be something to say about that they saw you. You could have given up 4 or 5 years ago, and they wouldn't have known. They would have seen pictures, but they wouldn't have it wouldn't have correlated till way after the fact. But
Yep.
while they're young, they're still sponges. They see dad on a NFL field. That is very very cool in my opinion. So speaking of the boys, are you encouraging them to play football? I mean, I know I see Shayna out there with them doing the soccer thing a lot. Are you pushing it? Are you letting them choose? Do they love football? Where do the boys stand right now?
If Josiah could play football right now, he would.
I love
Every
it.
single game that's on, when the game is on, he gets a piece of paper from his sketchbook. He does his best to draw the logo. If he can't draw the logo, he'll have me draw it, and then he'll color it. And then whatever the current score is, he'll put the score down. And then at bedtime, he tapes it to the kitchen table.
Yeah.
And he says, "Dad, when the game's over, write down the score." And so then when he wakes up, that's the first thing he does. He goes and checks the score, then he asks me about the game. I told him he can't play till 10. Every time somebody asks him about football, my dad says I can play at 10. He's like, it's not even on.
He can't wait.
He
He
can't.
can't wait.
It's there, bro. Look, let me tell you, CJ. I'm telling you, dog. Like, I got it. Like, when LeVar was like, I got it mapped out.
Yeah. You got it mapped out.
I got it mapped out. I got it mapped out.
That's amazing.
Look, now, as long as I'm playing, look, like this is time where I'm trying to, obviously I'm still chasing some dreams and goals of my own. But like I said, like, and it's funny, man, like the way God takes you through things. Like when I was a receiver and I was doing everything, I was a single guy, you know what I'm saying? Or I was just dating and things like that. So the receiver is a very selfish position in its nature.
Yes.
I was selfish in those times. And then as I got married and started progressing in life, I switched to tight end. Tight ends, there's a lot more humility involved. Now you're really working for other people. It's not always about you. You might get the ball sometimes, but okay, this sounds like my life. Yeah. Now, and I'm serious though, there's going to be one more position switch. And it's just the facts is now they're starting to look at me like, yo, you really could be like a really good special teamer. I never considered that when I first got into the league. Yeah. Even when I was in college, I never even did the special teams drills. I'm like, man, that was beneath me. Yeah. That ego done dropped. I'm like, hold on. So I can go out here, still affect the game, still support my teammates, still inspire, still provide for my family. It might only be 12 plays a game, but it's a way to help my team, and you can dominate the game. They still have Pro Bowls and All Pros for special teams guys.
Absolutely.
So I'm like, shoot, I could be the swing tight end and dominate this phase. It's just finding that next thing. And so, like, I look at my boys and I'm just like, look, man, like, let's learn the whole game. Like, I'm taking this time now to talk to them about, yeah, dad runs down on kickoff, but then dad did tight end. My son, Travis Kelce, who played the Chiefs. Like, got to talk to the best tight end ever played the game. You know what I mean? Other day, he's talking to me about receiver play. I'm like, okay, we'll watch some film about when I was back with the Eagles. I'll show you some stuff. I got that. You know those nets that Aaron Rodgers be throwing to?
Oh, yeah.
Throwing into in camp where it's like the ones they throw the fade balls. I got one in the backyard.
Wow.
Like, I'm telling you, we plant the seeds, and I'm trying to set the example also. But once he gets to, like, age 10,
turn it up a notch. And we saw, Jordan, a good friend of ours in a playoff game this weekend change the game. So to your point, special teams, all three phases matter. Orrin Burke.
All three phases. Trent almost got a Pro Bowl special team.
Right, exactly. He definitely got my vote. But Orrin
he got mine.
Yeah, of course. But Orrin this weekend, big hit on kickoff, causes a fumble, and the Eagles don't look back after that. So shout out to Orrin Burks.
Shout out.
So we spoke briefly about your wife, but I don't know that our fans really know about your wife, but your wife, I mean, this is a pretty athletic family, right? You aren't the only professional athlete in the family. Shayna was she was a member of the All SEC team when she was at Vanderbilt. That's when we first met her. But then she goes on to Florida State and she's a national champion. And most recently, she's on the Jamaican national team as a soccer player. And all this is as a soccer player. You had the opportunity to not only be a competitor in your family, but also to be a cheerleader and to be a fan as well. How proud are you of her as she's accomplishing all these things? And then she accomplished all that while having 3 boys. Like that's what people don't realize.
That was crazy, bro.
Shayna did not retire when she got pregnant and started having kids. Shayna kept playing soccer. I mean, truly a superwoman. Yeah. Like, how do you feel about her?
Bro, I'm so proud of my girl. I bother her so much when I'm at home. I just be like always hugging her. I mean, you know what I'm saying, just messing with her. At least now I woke up from a nap. I'm like, nah, I'm home from training. Let's talk.
Let's talk. Yeah.
That's what to talk about.
Yeah.
And she's truly my best friend, man. Like and that's why it's so hard, man. Whenever I'm playing in another city, because I can't like uprooting the family now. All my kids are in school. It's tough. It's tough away from my family, bro. Because like literally, like she was my best friend those latter years of college, and to this day, like there's not a day since we started talking in, and a day gone by that I haven't spoken to that girl. And like honestly, like I am so proud of her. Going to those games, watching her in the World Cup. Like I got to go to Paris to watch my wife play against Brazil. Like that's insane. Like play against Australia, Sam Kerr. Like it just, to me, like those types of experiences are, once in a lifetime. And then her being on the Jamaican national team, like I got to be introduced to a culture that I fell in love with. I love going to Jamaica for their national team camps. It was like some of the best times in our marriage. So I can't say enough good things about my wife. If people think it's by accident that she's a world-class athlete, no, it's very much intentional. But it helps when she is my best friend. And like I look at my family Hey, man, I'm truly blessed, bro. I don't envy no man.
Yeah.
I don't envy no man. Like, I do see things, like I mentioned, like, like, trust me, it hurts when I see, like, guys that I came in with succeeding at a level. Like, dang, like,
Yeah.
man, like, I wish I could do that. But when I come home, I tell people all the time, man, them sacred hours, that time from, like, time you wake up to the time you go into work, and then that time after, like, the day's done and the kids go to sleep about 7:30 to when you go to bed, man, that's sacred, man. And when the dust settles, the sun goes down, and I look at what God's blessed me with, I envy no man, bro.
Yeah.
I look at my wife and I'm like, you're the best thing ever happened to me.
Yeah.
That's for real. I look at my kids and it brings me to tears sometimes. Like when I take my son Lionel up and he's like, Daddy, let's read this book. Let's read Dinosaur book. And I'm just like, dude, you're my son, man. Like,
Yeah.
how blessed am I?
Yeah.
And so, and she blessed me with all three of our little babies. I just can't say enough. Like we're talking about, the kids schooling and, when they go to middle school, like, am I going to try and coach them? What middle school they going to go to? And
Yeah.
these are conversations.
Listen, Jordan, you're going to coach.
You already know.
I didn't think I was going to coach. I don't have a child yet. That will come when God's ready. But I'm already coaching at Homewood Middle School down here in Birmingham.
Really?
So, yeah. And I'm telling you, you're going to get the itch and you're going to be coaching and I'm telling you, you'll love every second of it, man. I look forward to it every day, like going to see those kids and being able to give them just a little bit. But sometimes I just love hearing their conversations, they just to catch up with the new generation and things like that. So, man, that's so beautiful, man. And I'm so excited and thrilled for both of y'all and the journey, this next journey that y'all are going to go on with your kids. And you know how much I love her. She is an amazing woman and a good friend of myself and Patricia's as well. So, definitely happy for y'all. Now, Jordan, you and I both have a real passion for the Doors, man. We are big Vandy guys. We are true fanatics of it. And I think a lot of it comes from, being these three-star guys from Alabama and Auburn, Alabama act like we were chopped liver. I'm just throwing it out there. Vanderbilt came in and gave us the opportunity of a lifetime, right? And I truly mean a lifetime, not just the sporting aspect of it, but also what that degree will do for both of us. Also, Jordan is a graduate from Vanderbilt. So let's talk about how our Doors did this year. We finished the season with 7 wins, 2 wins that really stuck out for us Alabama guys. We got the Alabama win and also the Auburn win as well. That teams that didn't offer us, scholarship. So what was this season like for you as a fan and as an alumni?
Season was fun, man. Yeah. I felt like we got back to that identity of we're the gritty smart school.
Yeah.
Duke, Stanford, Northwestern at times has been able to get a little bit of that gritty, like, identity about them. But I'm telling you, Vanderbilt has always, like, from the time that I was watching them with Earl Bennett and those guys, Jay Cutler, has always kind of had like this, we're the smart school, but we're kind of like, we get out the mud though too.
Yes.
And we never just had this like overly prestigious like aura about us. It was like, no, like we are the land of misfit toys. We the guys that the school in our state didn't want. So we came to Middle Tennessee. And that's what that dude Diego Pavia represents to me, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the Vanderbilt I like. You know what I'm saying? I want the guy that's barely here. That's my dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's that guy, man. And guys like Quincy Skinner, like that grit, that physical. I love, oh my gosh, my Junior Sherrill, my young boy. Junior reminds me a lot of you. Versatile, like he can return. I think he's going to be a great slot receiver. I want to get over there and work with him some this spring and really help refine his game because it's just very raw right now. But I think he'll be really good. The defense, I think Clark got that defense finally playing how they should. And for me, man, it was just it was uplifting as as an alum, I can't tell you how many times I went back into that locker room, Virginia Tech game. I had a couple Virginia Tech homies. They was talking smack all the end of camp. We had a little break. We came back week one. I said, what was y'all saying? Boom, took y'all out. Had some teammates that went to Kentucky, took y'all out. Auburn, boom. But boy, when I saw Bryce Young, when I saw Bryce after that game, I said, Bryce, but see, Bryce so humble, it's hard to talk junk to him. He was like, hey, I guess y'all had the better game that day. I'm like, dude, Bryce, talk to me, man. I'm trying to beat your neck, man. You still polite, you know what I mean? But it was just like for me, like I loved the fact that I finally started to see belief again. Because that was the thing that we had. Like our unit, bro, when we were going to go play South Carolina at the beginning of the season, there was nobody in that locker room that didn't believe we was going to win.
Yes.
It didn't matter who we played, especially those last 2 years. It was like, y'all ready to do this? We ready to do it. All right, let's go. Like, let's ride. Like that and belief, you can't fake it.
No.
I tell you all the time, the number one common denominator between all successful people is not hard work. It's not. Now, the common denominator behind the most successful people in their fields all time, yeah, you're going to throw some hard work in there. But just successful people in general, like people who you look at and say, this person was good at what they did, created, whatever. The common denominator is belief.
Yeah.
You're not going to meet anybody that's really good at something they did that didn't have strong faith and conviction into what they were doing, themselves, where they were headed. Because some people, like, I've been in the NFL with guys that honestly do not work that hard. They don't train super hard in the offseason. They don't even go super hard in camp. Put them boys on the game day field. They believe in themselves.
Yeah.
And they see the belief come out and they have success. But I'm telling you, if the devil robs you of your belief, you're done.
Yeah.
So when I saw this team start to believe, like they believed they was going to beat Texas. They did. They just came up short. They believed they was finally going to beat South Carolina because that's the next one we got to get. We got to beat South Carolina.
When's the last time we've beaten South Carolina?
It's been a minute, bro. I'm telling you, we didn't get.
When I think about my career, I think I've got to win on pretty much everybody except for
South Carolina. South Carolina.
I don't know what it is.
We have South Carolina at home this year, and that's the next thing because, like, I know guys are going to start talking college football playoffs because why wouldn't you? I want the belief to be there. That's what the conversation should be. I truly believe, and I've been putting this out there. I said this at the end of the season. I said, this should be the first 10-win Vanderbilt team coming up this next year.
Yeah.
If they put that as their North Star, I think every other thing they want to accomplish will be there. I even think if they get 10 wins, the committee would be like, this is a Vanderbilt team with 10 wins, put them in there.
Yeah.
But I've looked at it like in that season, okay, you got Texas at Texas, you got Alabama at Alabama. You know they're gonna want revenge. You know what I'm saying? Those are gonna be very, very tough games. You got LSU again at Vanderbilt. But I look at it, I'm like, we got us a quarterback.
Yeah.
We got us a guy under center that is tough. He's a winner. He's not scared of nobody. That feeds into the rest of the team. And I'm serious, man. Like I'm going to try and get over there during spring this year, help out a little bit. I'm telling them, like,
why not?
Why not? We should have done it because the Ole Miss game, we just called it what it was. We gave it away. That should have been the first 10-win season ever in Vanderbilt history.
Yeah.
We would win Chick-fil-A Bowl. I mean, it was all right.
It was all set up. Yeah, it was all set up.
Yeah. We maybe even had a chance to go to the SEC championship game. Missouri went in our place because we didn't take care of business week one. I believe this next team can do it.
Yeah. I ditto everything you just said. I love where the program's at. I love what Coach Lee has done. And Diego has brought a different swagger, a swagger that we haven't had in several years. So I'm excited to see him come back for another year. We appreciate the NCAA on that one. But before we get out of here, any predictions on Ohio State, Notre Dame?
Okay. It's hard not to say Ohio State.
Yeah.
And I know people are going to say, oh, it's easy. You're going to pick the team that looks like the most hot. It's not that. I've always, whenever I get into watching these games late in the year, I'm always trying to find the team that seems like they're the most happy to be there. And that's the team that's going to lose. And
they didn't expect to be there.
That's exactly. Now, I'm not saying like, I don't know how many Notre Dame fans you got out here. Anybody like
not many.
Okay, good. Because I'm just being real. Like every time Alabama gets to the national championship game, they would usually win because there's that intel of we expect to be here. We're going to go do what we're supposed to do. When Georgia played TCU that year, I think that was their first national championship that they won. That was their second because they won the one versus Bama.
They beat Alabama, I think, yeah.
But even when they built up that team that finally went to go play Alabama that year, there was not an energy of we're just happy that we got here. It was an energy of we're the new guys here. Then the TCU one, you knew they was like, we're going to go win this. And TCU was that team that was like, oh, look at all the cool stuff here. Like, look at all the free stuff we get. Oh, man. You know what I'm saying? Then it's over, right? I personally, I didn't feel this way from Dan Lanning. I feel like I like him as a coach. I like him a lot. And they kind of got messed up with the seating. I'm not mad, though, because they favored my guy Franklin.
Right.
I'm cool. But they did kind of get screwed.
Yeah, of course.
Side they got put on. But I felt like Oregon, those guys were like, we're the one undefeated team. I didn't feel like they were like expecting to go out there
on a mission.
This is
just a part of where we're going to.
Yeah. And so I love Freeman. I like him a lot. I like his demeanor. I like the way he just carries himself as a coach. Very intentional, family guy. I think he knows what Notre Dame was, and he's tried to like put his identity on it a little bit. So I like where they're going, but I still feel like they're kind of that team that's like, wow, like look at us, like we got here. Okay, now let's go win this next one. Ohio State's pissed off.
Yeah.
Ohio State is what Michigan was last year. When Michigan was getting beat by Ohio State all in years.
Yeah.
And then they finally got in. They was like, oh, we in now. It's over.
We're not going to play with it.
We're not playing with y'all. Blake Corum, we ain't playing with y'all. It's over. Yeah. JJ McCarthy. We taking this. Ryan Day, that dude's pissed off.
Yeah.
That dude, I knew him. He was with me at the Eagles for a year. And Chip Kelly, their OC, these dudes are pissed off. These dudes have been talked about, ridiculed as coaches.
They've been fired already.
They've been drugged through the mud. I mean, Kurt Herbstreit almost got in a fight with Shannon Sharp because of stuff they were saying about Ohio. And so I truly think Ohio State is not looking at it like, man, we're happy. They're looking at it like, this is our championship to go win.
Yeah.
Like, we know who we are. We know what we've been through. Forget everybody else. Let's go. And so I do think Notre Dame has the better quarterback. I like Ohio State's skill players better. They remember that number that one receiver didn't really go off.
Right.
Jeremiah Smith. He didn't he's gonna cook this next game.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't have the number. He won't have the number one corner in the country covering.
Right.
So that's going to free him up some. And
that's going to free him up.
To your point about Notre Dame's quarterback, Riley Leonard, also a Bama
boy. He's
an excellent basketball player.
Yes, he's a really good player. So that's where Notre Dame has the edge right there. But everywhere else, man, they got that. I don't know, the defensive end for Ohio State.
Yeah.
33,
yeah.
Great player. I mean, you can tell that he's in that line of the Bosa, that he's watch those guys. He's like, I'm going to be that guy for this team. So it's hard for me because whenever somebody says who you think is going to win, I'm like, okay, well, you put a gun up to my head and said, I need you to put money behind somebody. Okay, who am I going to put money behind? I put money behind Ohio State, even though there's a lot of things I like about Notre Dame. It's Ohio
Wow.
State.
Awesome. Well, Jordan, I'm right there with you. I think Ohio State has this one, and I think they have it pretty handily. Like I love Coach Freeman as well. I think he's got a very bright future at Notre Dame, and just in coaching in general. Notre Dame is going to have a hard time keeping him there. He's a very good coach,
Yeah.
and I expect him to do great things. But Jordan, man, thank you so much for your time, man. You have given us truly a special day, a special episode, and we look forward to talking with you again, man. When I know you're in your off season, and you've got some free time, so if you ever want to come back, you let us know. And you've always got a seat here at Yellowhammer, man.
Appreciate your family. Man, it's
Yeah,
awesome
man.
talking to you, CJ. I love seeing you, the wife, Patricia. Y'all look so good, man. I feel like every photo on Instagram, bro. Y'all just look praying for y'all. Y'all keep the momentum.
Thanks, man. Love you too, brother. And we'll see you soon. And that'll be another episode of the Yellowhammer Sports Podcast. Y'all can catch us on all platforms. Yellowhammer News is our name, and we'll see y'all next week. Thank you.
Peace.